June was the lobster shell I dug by hand, a haven that hid me well beneath.
Hey guys, it's Miss Outspoken Outcast, aka Chibi. So if you've already noticed, this video is called A Message to My Parents. And first and foremost, I want to clarify a few things before I go on to say what I'm about to say. So first, let me tell you guys a story. So this is going to be a little bit of an explanation of my life and my situation so you guys know why I'm not making a lot of videos. It's very hard for me and why things are so difficult, and I'm not making any of this crap up. I mean, I could pull up tons of stuff to show you guys, like, text messages, computer activity of what these said people that are doing that is harming my life. So anyway, hi, you guys know me as Miss Outspoken Outcast, and you probably wonder why I chose that name for myself. I chose that name for myself because I've always been an outcast in terms of my family. I'm the fourth child out of 5 children. And if you can't already tell from that, that would have made my parents very, very old. By the time I became a teenager, they were very elderly. They were starting to get there, in their 50s and their 60s. And now I'm 21 years old. And I currently live with one of my older siblings, not by choice. I will get to that in a minute. So I am not trying to make myself sound like a goody two-shoes because that's not my intent. My intent is never to be a kiss ass. It's just I find no point in causing crap to happen. So, to put it very bluntly, I have just found no reason to piss off my parents because I have realized that my parents, and anyone's parents for that matter, they are the key to getting you out there. They are the key to getting you out of the nest. As much as you hate them, it's very, very hard. You got to know people in high places in order to get out of the nest. You got to do something because usually it's your parents who get you that car. They help you buy your first house. They help you get an apartment, something like that. And that's why I find no reason to disrespect them, unless maybe you're in that kind of hostile situation of where your parents abuse you, then yeah, I can understand. Maybe you have some friends to help you out. It's always somebody, but I'm just saying, as a majority for most people, it's your parents who end up helping you. And I know that sometimes, family ain't always pretty. Blood does not mean everything. Blood is not always everything, and that's something I've learned in my life. It doesn't have to be true for everybody. It's very hard for people to understand this concept because they would think, why would you say that? Isn't family supposed to be everything? They're supposed to stick together no matter what. You're supposed to love each other. And I'm just here to tell you right now, that's not entirely true, and that's not how it is for everybody. My siblings, basically, they did whatever possible to be a disappointment and a shame to my family. They've done whatever possible to fuck things up on purpose for amusement. Basically, they are power-hungry assholes. And if you're wondering who the fifth child is, he's my younger brother, and he's just as big of an asshole. And I will explain in a minute. So, basically, my parents were very different. You would expect that because they were in their 50s or 60s, something like that, they would be very strict. They would be, like most old people are now, like, oh, well, back in my day. No. They would be they wouldn't be too lenient and they wouldn't be too strict. They would be like, you know what? If you fuck up in your life, that's your problem. And I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to warn you. But, if you fuck up, I'm not going to get you out of it. And that's kind of what happened with my siblings. My older siblings, my eldest brother, he was the first child, and he was a spoiled little shit. And he took advantage of my parents. He took just about all of their money when he was going to go to college. He wasted it. He ended up wasting that whole deal and had to end up going back to school as a middle-aged man. And now magically he has a better job and he's better off in this world than I am. And that might not sound weird to you guys, but that's sadly how the world is. The bullies are usually the ones who get by in the world because they're seen as aggressive. They're seen as people who are going to take risks and do stuff. And I don't know if you know who this is, but The Amazing Atheist, a guy who I'm subscribed to, I really respect this guy. He made a video about it on how bullies are basically taking over the world because they scare people into getting what they want, and they become very powerful unless somebody stands up to them. But even so, that doesn't mean it's going to always work. So that's my older brother. He is a very power-hungry asshole. He lives in a nice house. He's very bossy. He torments his wife and his daughter and son, and I think he treats his wife as a trophy, and I think that's bullshit because she's a very nice woman. She's the only person I can say out of my family that I really respect because she has helped me on several occasions. It's just she's helpless because of my brother, who's her husband. And he's such a fucking jerk. And I hate his guts because he physically abused me as a child whenever my parents weren't here, when he had to watch me. So I don't fucking like him at all. And because he doesn't respect me as a person and he expects me to bow down to him, and he acts like he's my father when he's not. He's nothing. He's not as much of an honorable man as my father was. So, he can go fuck himself, okay? He decided to be an asshole, and somehow he magically just got successful, so I don't respect him at all for, thinking, oh, he's so great, but he just, was a jerk to my parents. Now I'm going to move on to my sister. My sister, who my brothers like to compare me to, which pisses me off, she basically slept around. That's how she got her way in the world, is she sucked a lot of dick. She got kicked out of the house at 16, and my brothers like to compare me to her because both of us are very opinionated, and there's a difference between me and her. I have intelligent opinions, and she does not. She's the type of woman who will be like, if a guy's ugly, there's no point in being with him. She criticized the crap out of me for wanting to be with guys who've been my friends for a very long time, and me judging them on their personality. She's like, no, you need a man who looks good. And I'm just like, no, get the fuck out of here. But mainly I hate her because she has been very verbally and even physically abusive to me as well. When I was 14 years old and I went to stay with her, she slapped the shit out of me inside of a Target just because I didn't know how to put on a bra. Nope, around that time, I will explain something later as to why I didn't even know how to do that. And I know that's a really weird fact, but I'm just being flat out honest with her. I am an outspoken person, and I find no point in hiding anything from you guys. So, yeah, I don't like her because she disrespected my parents, like I said. She disrespected me as a person. She could not accept the fact that I was a tomboy. She has been trying to slut me up ever since and push her views on me, and that's the difference between her and me. I don't push my views on anyone. I'm not going to stick a fucking gun in their face and be like, you fucking listen to me. That's how she is. If you don't listen to her, she will get very fucking violent with you. And now she has this rich husband. Probably she got him by sucking a lot of dick, like I said. I'm sorry to be blunt, but that's how it is. And that's how she got her way in the world. And again, I don't like her because she disrespected me as a person. And she has disrespected my parents by, as good as they were, as medium in terms of, how do I put this, discipline as they were, like as good as they were, she just didn't listen, and that really pisses me off because, she took advantage of the fact that they were trying to be good, like good parents, be nice to her, and she just was like, no, and took advantage of it. And both her and my older brother, again, have also shamed my father on several occasions. My father was a cop, So again, they didn't care how that reflected on him, and that's bullshit because they should. Because if he had lost his job for that specific reason, that would very much so piss me off if I were him. I'd be like, what the fuck, you know? That's the only way I'm making money, and you just go ahead and fuck it up by making a bad name for me. And I'm pretty sure you guys understand how that works, you know, that the children of a cop are doing stupid shit, and they're just like, whoa. So anyway, now to move on to the current sibling that I live with. My second eldest brother. He is a all-time, like, control freak. He did not get along with women mainly because he was made fun of because of his weight. I know all these things because, you know, I spent a lot of time talking to my father about these things, to know what exactly is going on with the family, things that my mother did not tell me. And basically, as a result of all that traumatization, he became a man whore. He started hanging out with gangsters, and he formed an inferiority complex to where basically he would get his way in life by being a jerk and by just not letting him be a pushover. And personally, I find it really sad that he had to be that way because this brother that I'm talking about, he used to be a really cool person. I used to love him very much. He used to be into the same music as me. He used to play video games with me, and now he's like, oh, I'm too old for that. I'm too cool for that. You know, I'm 31 years old and I'm a swagget. And it makes me want to cry because he treats me, his younger sister, like he treats other women. You know, he doesn't treat women with respect at all, you know. He would probably make a feminist want to kill him because it's just very sad. Like, he was, again, a spoiled child because that's how the men have been in my family. They've been spoiled by my mother. My mother would be more slightly disciplinary towards the women in the family and not so much on the men. And it's just very sad that, you know, my brother doesn't think to himself, you know, is this the way that I would treat my mother? You know, he just goes around and he does drugs instead of dealing with his problems like a normal person. You know, instead of talking about his problems and trying to work them out in a constructive way, he just resorts to drugs and drinking, and he's very irresponsible. I can say this because I've seen what he spends his money on, and yet he blames the fact that he doesn't have money because of me, when in reality he brings a lot of vodka home, and he'll come home and he'll just fucking yell at me, and, you know, he'll spend his money on weed instead of thinking, you know, maybe I should be spending my money on this stuff. And he doesn't try to budget things. He just buys, like, pre-made stuff, and he wonders where all his money's going. It's like, dude, is it really that hard to make an egg? Anyway, so, yeah, basically, he has an inferiority complex, and he will push it on anyone, and I've called him out on it, and he slapped me in the face for it. And there's, you know, obviously nothing I can do, and I will explain later as to why that is. And then we come to my younger brother, the youngest brother, the child after me, who is the most spoiled of all. He is basically a mini-me of the previous brother I talked about. And I love this kid. I loved him to death. I'm just going to explain everything right now, guys. You know, my parents, both of them are dead. And it sucks because, like I explained previously, you know, you don't realize how important your parents are in helping you out in the world until they're gone. And they're both dead. My mother died when I was 13 years old, and I've had to become a very mature woman as a result. I had to become woman of the house. I had to help my father for a very long time, which is why I haven't been able to get a job, was because I had to stay home. And my older siblings didn't want to have anything to do with my dad. They just, you know, left him there to die, and I took on responsibility of taking care of him. And I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm getting teared up, but, you know, I'm opening up, and it hurts to talk about. So, you know, I had to take care of my dad. and he had a lot of health problems as a result of being on the force for so long. He had developed a heart condition because he was so stressed out all the time. And, you know, it just sucked because he was so depressed because my mother was gone. And my mother, both of them, both him and my mother worked themselves into the ground. And they worked so hard to make a life for all their children, and that's another main reason why I hate my siblings. They don't care about that. They just are like, oh, well, you guys are just assholes and you tried to tell me what to do with my life, so fuck you. They didn't think of it, as they were trying to give them life lessons. And, they worked themselves into the ground, and now here I am alone because they tried so hard to make my previous, their previous children before me and my younger brother happy. So, as a result of when my mother died, I had to become sister and mother at the same time. I had to be a mother-like figure to my younger brother, and I had to cook, I had to clean, I had to do everything because, my father was at an age point to where, again, he was just very old and he couldn't do a lot, and I've had to give him his medication. Even for a little while, I got a little bit of training from some Kaiser nurses, except the whole deal is, again, me being not knowledgeable and being left in the dark, I wasn't able to get really documentation of that or a signature or something from them saying that I could, because otherwise I would have been able to get a job as a CNA or something, and I wouldn't be talking to you guys about this right now. But again, people leaving me in the dark. So, yeah, I took care of my father, and I had, again, to try to teach my younger brother some things, and as a result, him being this previously spoiled by my mother, he's become resentful towards me. He's mad at me because I've tried to become a mother figure, and he doesn't understand that, all I'm doing is I'm doing what I was told to do, and I'm doing it because I loved him. And all he's ever done, my younger brother, when my dad was on his deathbed, he just pretty much just took off and left and went to go live with his girlfriend, even though he was only 17 years old, and I was 19 at the time. And he just didn't care, and he had disregard, and he expects everything to be done for him. And it sucks because, I thought we had a good relationship, and I tried to do all I could for my younger brother. And even so, even though he's, a little corrupt little fuck, I still have those good little memories of when we were children and when we play games together, and I wonder, where did that kid go? Why does he hate me so much? Why can't he understand that I'm trying to be his big sister and help him? He just is like, no, stop telling me what to do. You're a fucking bitch, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I'm getting a little emotional again. But anyway, so basically, yeah, what happened was I've been chained down to the house, and I haven't been able to get a job because I was too busy taking care of my dad. And when I was 18, my boyfriend, who already had a job, moved into the house and helped me take care of my father. And then he ended up getting a lower end job because the jobs that he was getting was through the same program that I went through. He went through a job training program to where you would only get on a job site, for about 6 weeks, and then you would have to move to another one. And now he's stuck working at Little Caesars because, when he initially went in for that job, he thought he was going to be able to move up, and that's not happening. So now he's going to try and get another job, and I'm going to try and get another job as well after the previous part-time ones that I've held through the job program. So this is the situation as it is now. I am living with one of my older siblings because he basically forced his way in after my dad died. My dad died when I was 19, 20 years old, about like a year ago. And I've been living with him on food stamps because, again, I was pretty much rendered helpless. I wasn't able to get a job because I had to stay here. And I've been able to make a little bit of income, but most of that money's been going towards paying bills and nothing else. And it's very hard. And I've been on food stamps because my older brother's like, no, you feed yourself. I don't expect him to feed me, but, in the environment as it is now, basically, I'm the center of all his blame, and I'm trying to get out of this situation because, family shouldn't be treating each other like this. They should be trying to help each other out, and he just keeps yelling at me and be like, why can't you get a job? And it's like, well, maybe I could if you would just, maybe even put a good word in for me like most siblings do. So it's just very hostile here, I have to label my own food. I have to hide it so he doesn't eat it. And he's very controlling over his food instead of it being like a normal household where you share food except for, maybe special things that you buy like ice cream. It's not like that. Even the littlest things like bread, he'll just be very protective over and be like, I'm going to fucking kill you because you ate my bread. It's just very ridiculous here. And it really sucks. So, here I am under the rule of one of my siblings that was a dick to my parents. And I'm basically held at a financial and emotional, I'm held as a financial and emotional hostage to my siblings now because my parents are gone and my dad's not here anymore to tell them, stop it. Stop picking on her. Stop being jealous just because, you guys you guys betrayed me. You guys didn't listen to me. I earned my parents' respect and they didn't. And now, they're just bitter towards me and angry at me because of it. And I think it's BS, that they don't try to think to themselves, maybe I could have had a better relationship with mom and dad if I didn't do all those things. So, that's just how it is. I am the center of my brother's blame because he can't accept the fact that he screwed up in his life. And, the only people that are really helping me hold on are my subscribers, my dog, and my boyfriend, and the very few friends that I have. And I'm trying really hard. I'm not, expecting handouts. I'm not expecting anything. In fact, I hate it sometimes when I got to ask people for money for gas just so I can, go somewhere. Because, I don't want people looking at me and being like, oh, you're a mooch. So, yeah, it sucks. And I don't want to be in this situation anymore. Believe me, I want a job. I've been trying. I've been applying everywhere. That's why, I'm not really focusing on my YouTube channel because, most people would think if I were focusing on it, they'd be like, oh, if you're really suffering, then why do you have all this time to go on YouTube? Why are you fucking around on YouTube if you're trying to get a job? Why don't you try and put your time into trying to get a job? And that's what I've been doing. I went to that class. I've had 3 jobs through my work site, and then I started going to a computer office technology class, and then I interned for a little while, and now that's complete. And I'm hoping that the experience that I have can help me get a job. And this is going to be the main point of my video. As much as I try to make myself seem very like one of the perfect children, I'm not completely perfect. But, I wasn't always a good daughter. I mean, yeah, I didn't do everything that my siblings did, but I would still pick stupid arguments with them. And I feel very bad for it. I mean, my relationship with them wasn't as bad as my older siblings had it with them. And I'm making this video to not only explain my story, but because, I want to say the things that I haven't been able to say to them because they died so suddenly. And I regret a lot of things I did. At the time, when I was a child, I would frequently argue with my mother, and I never understood why she was mad at me. All up until my dad explained to me, Krista, your mother was bipolar. She had bipolar disorder. I didn't tell you because you wouldn't understand. And I just want to address my mother first. Mom, I love you. I don't know where you are. I don't know if you are existing in some form. you know? But I want to apologize for saying I hate you. And I want to tell you that I miss you. And it's hard. And I wish we could have spent more time together. And I want to thank you for getting me a lot of the things that I did, for trying to be involved in my life. You know, buying me video games, paying special attention to my interests, unlike some parents. I want to say thank you, and I'm sorry that I didn't understand you were bipolar. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being a stupid little girl and saying that I hated you when I never did. I always loved you. I love you so much. And I wish that you were here, because I want to show you so many things. I want to share with you what's going on in my life. I wanted you to meet my boyfriend, and, you know, if we ever get married, you won't be here. And it makes me very sad that you won't be. I wish that I would have known everything so we could have fought less. And I love you. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting very emotional. I'm sorry. I know it's stupid that I'm making a video saying a message to my parents, but it's just, I know a lot of people have different religious views. I'm a pantheist, and I believe that, you know, there is some kind of energy going on, and maybe my parents exist in some kind of form of energy. I personally would like to believe that what happens in the anime Fullmetal Alchemist, or even Noin, I would personally like to believe that that's the way that life works, that either your soul is recycled, or your soul is an energy force, that just because your body's dead doesn't mean the rest of you is, that who you are, that your soul is. And I'm making this video in hopes that, because of my beliefs, again, I know maybe some of you are Christian, or some of you are Catholic, or some of you are atheist, or something else. I'm just hoping that the energy force of my parents can hear what I'm telling them. Because I love them and I miss them. And I've been wanting to say this for a long time. I just haven't been able to, because I've been so caught up in life. Now, the next person that I would like to address is my father. Dad, I'm sorry for getting mad at you and not understanding why you were trying to be protective of me. I'm sorry for starting arguments with you because you didn't want me to be with the man that I am with now. I'm sorry that I didn't try to be understanding that you were in pain too, and that you were suffering because mom wasn't here anymore. And I'm sorry for, wishing that you'd go to hell and stuff, and talking crap about you sometimes when I get mad at you because you would call me a bitch, and I wasn't thinking to myself that you were just suffering and you were going a little senile. I wish that I would have looked the other way. I wish that I wouldn't have fought with you so much. I want to thank you for all the life lessons that you've taught me. I want to thank you for making me the woman that I am now. I want to thank you for teaching me not to take anybody's shit. And I want to say that you've always been my hero, Dad. I've always respected the way that you stood up to people and told them how you felt. And it really sucks, Dad, that none of your children understood that but me. That, at least you were honest, and I'm sorry so many people hated you because of that. But I just want to say that, I'd rather be a person like you than just be nice to everybody and be two-faced. I'd rather be like you. And I want to thank you for you know, I want to thank you for when I became 18. I want to thank you for, respecting me as an adult. I want to thank you for trying to understand my boyfriend, Marcus. I want to say that, I appreciate everything that you've been telling me this entire time about how life works. You've just taught me so much. And I really want to thank you for that. And I'm sorry that we had to waste all that time fighting. I'm sorry that, I would always run away and go to my boyfriend, Marcus, and just hang out with him mostly and avoid you sometimes because I was too much of a emotional teenager to understand you, to understand how you work. I'm really sorry, Dad. I love you so much, and I wish that you could be here. And I want to let you know that I'm trying to make you proud. Even though we have some differences in the way we think, I wish that we could have gotten to understand each other and we could have had a lot more memories. And it makes me really sad that when I get married one day, you're not going to be there to walk me down the aisle. That I have to walk this life without you. And I'm sorry that the children have disrespected you. Your children, my siblings. I'm sorry that right now they're keeping you in an urn and they didn't even have a funeral for you like they did for Mom. I'm really sorry, Dad. I want to let you know that I wanted to have a funeral for you and I want to speak in your honor because, again, I love you and I've looked up to you for a very long time. And I'm sorry I didn't express it enough, and I want to thank you for also inspiring me to be an artist because you taught me how to draw and you liked drawing cars and, I like drawing too, and now I know a lot of the basics of art because of you. And I know, again, a lot about people. I know a lot about relationships. I want to thank you for being an open parent with me, for telling me about how really relationships work instead of sugarcoating it, telling me everything about sex so I don't get pregnant. I really want to thank you for that, Dad. Thank you for not hiding in the corner like most parents do. Thank you so much, Dad. I love you, and I hope this gets to you and Mom somehow. I hope that in some form of existence you guys are together and you understand that I'm trying my hardest to get by in this world without you guys, and I'm trying to make you proud. And alright, guys, that's my end point for this video. I've spoken my piece, and I probably revealed some pretty weird things about me that you guys didn't know. But again, if you're going to be a YouTuber, why not try to get personal with your audience instead of just acting very indifferent? I know I was crying a lot, but, like I said, because I'm a pantheist, I'm hoping in some shape or form my parents hear my message, because honestly, I haven't really been able to get over their deaths because I've held the fact that, I've been childish and I pick fights with them and stuff. And I just want to find closure. And that's part of what the point of this video was to show them that, I love them and I respect them unlike everybody else, and I still remember them. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video.